an editorial defense analysis examining South Korea's military readiness and regional security.
The decision by the Defense Acquisition Program Administration to select L3Harris as the preferred bidder for the Airborne Early Warning and Control Phase 2 project sends a tremor through the global defense market, one that extends well beyond the Korean peninsula. By favoring a solution based on the Bombardier Global 6,500 business jet over the Boeing E-7 Wedgetail, Seoul has signaled a profound shift in its procurement philosophy. This move challenges a long-standing assumption, the assumption that interoperability with the United States Air Force requires purchasing identical hardware. Instead, South Korea appears to be prioritizing a synthesis of operational pragmatism and aggressive industrial localization, a strategy that carries significant long-term implications for the Republic of Korea Air Force and the domestic defense sector. At the heart of this decision lies a rejection of the traditional bigger is better mentality that has dominated airborne surveillance for decades. The choice of the Bombardier Global 6,500 airframe represents a pivot toward what might be termed a high-altitude, low-drag concept of operations. While the Boeing 737-based E-7 Wedgetail offers a massive, proven airframe, capable of housing extensive crews and equipment, it brings with it the heavy logistical footprint of a commercial airliner. In contrast, the business jet platform proposed by L3Harris offers a distinct tactical advantage regarding service ceiling, operating at altitudes exceeding 40,000 feet. It allows the onboard radar to overcome the limitations of the radar horizon more effectively than platforms restricted to lower commercial altitudes. In the mountainous terrain of the Korean theater, where low-flying cruise missiles and drones utilizing nap-of-the-earth flight profiles present a primary threat, those extra few thousand feet of altitude translate directly into earlier detection times. However, the operational benefits of a higher ceiling come with an inevitable trade-off in onboard capacity. A business jet fuselage lacks the interior volume of a 737. This inherently limits the number of mission crew consoles available on board. This constraint suggests that the Republic of Korea Air Force is placing a substantial bet, a bet on the maturity of artificial intelligence and automated data processing. If the software cannot compensate for the reduction in human eyes on screens, the operational effectiveness of the platform in a saturated combat environment could be compromised. This reliance on advanced processing over raw manpower reflects a broader trend in modern warfare. Yet, it remains a calculated risk for a nation facing a neighbor capable of massing conventional and asymmetric forces simultaneously. Beyond the tactical specifications, the selection of L3Harris reveals the growing influence of industrial sovereignty in Seoul's decision-making matrix. The proposal involves a deep partnership with Korean Air and LIG Next One. It promises a level of technology transfer and local participation that Boeing, burdened by a massive backlog of orders from the United States Air Force and NATO, may likely struggle to match. The Defense Acquisition Program Administration appears to be looking past the immediate acquisition of a sensor platform. They seem focused on the long-term goal of cultivating a domestic capacity to integrate and modify complex airborne surveillance systems. By securing access to system integration know-how, South Korea is effectively paying tuition for its future independence in the aerospace sector. Nevertheless, the rejection of the E-7 Wedgetail introduces a complex layer of logistical friction. The Republic of Korea Air Force currently operates the E-737 Peace Eye, Introducing a completely different airframe for the Phase 2 requirement creates a mixed fleet scenario. This bifurcation necessitates separate supply chains, separate training pipelines, and separate maintenance protocols, and inevitably driving up the life cycle costs that the cheaper business jet platform was ostensibly selected to reduce. From a sustainment perspective, the logic of fleet commonality was a strong argument in favor of Boeing. That Seoul chose to bypass this logic suggests that concerns over Boeing's current production stability and pricing structures likely outweighed the conveniences of logistical uniformity. It implies a lack of confidence in the legacy aerospace giant's ability to deliver on time and on budget, a sentiment echoed by other procurement programs globally. There is also the critical question of alliance management, with the United States Air Force committing fully to the E-7 Wedgetail as the successor to the E-3 Sentry. South Korea's divergence creates a slight disconnect in the hardware roadmap of the alliance. While modern data links, such as Link 16, ensure that the aircraft can communicate, the lack of platform commonality denies the Allies the ability to share spare parts or maintenance crews during a crisis. It suggests that South Korea is confident that digital interoperability is sufficient, and that physical interchangeability is a luxury it can afford to forego, in exchange for industrial gain. This reflects a maturing partner status, where Seoul feels empowered to pursue distinct technological paths that serve its specific strategic interests, rather than simply mirroring American procurement decisions. The financial dimension of this program, valued at approximately $2.15 billion, further underscores the pressure on the Defense Acquisition Program Administration to deliver visible value. The selection of a commercially derived business jet platform typically promises lower fuel consumption and airport accessibility compared to converted airliners. In an era where defense budgets are strained by the demographic cliff and the need to fund multiple high-tech initiatives simultaneously, the projected savings in operating costs per flight hour likely played a decisive role. It appears the evaluators concluded that the operational capability per dollar spent was higher with the L3Harris solution, accepting the risk that comes with integrating Israeli radar technology from IAI-ELTA onto a Canadian airframe for a Korean end user. Ultimately, this procurement decision serves as a microcosm of South Korea's evolving defense posture. It is a move characterized by a willingness to embrace calculated risks, specifically the risk of a mixed fleet and a smaller airframe, in pursuit of greater strategic autonomy and economic efficiency. By selecting the L3Harris consortium, Seoul has explicitly prioritized the development of its domestic defense ecosystem and the specific tactical advantages of high-altitude surveillance over the safety of standardization. Whether this gamble pays off will depend not on the airframe itself, but on the successful integration of the mission systems and the ability of the Republic of Korea Air Force to adapt its command and control doctrine to a platform that demands higher automation and leaner crews.